believe he's here. This week's been a tricky week for me. I'm kind of responsible for the kind of seeing the funding coming in for the operational side of the building. And every application was a no. The spreadsheets weren't adding up. And I was doing spreadsheets in the middle of the night in my head, in the bed. Now, I can't do spreadsheets in front of a computer. So can you imagine what it's like when I've just got them in my head? And it wasn't tying up, and I was getting more and more anxious. And there was one application, a small application I was waiting for. And I said to Jamie, if we don't get this, frankly, God's doing it another way, or I'm an absolutely terrible bid writer, because that's a no-brainer. And I got word on Friday that we hadn't got it. And I was really gutted. Now, the night before, the core team had met, and they'd prayed for God to speak in this situation. And then Matt came to me this week, and I got an email from him this morning that Jesus comes when we try to do it ourselves, but he proves to us he's got a different way. And God had spoken to you. Tell us about that.
So I got Avril's email, because I had already had a real sense of faith and excitement about the building. Before the email. And so I'd already offered to Avril to, I've been bid writing for Lifeline Projects the past couple years, and so I've kind of developed that skill set and felt like that might be something God wanted to use for the new building. So I'd already offered that help to Avril. So she forwarded me the disappointing outcome on this most recent bid. And I guess it was clear in her email both that there was a rational way of looking at it, and they'd given feedback, and there's something we can do here. There was a lot of disappointment in the email as well, in Avril's tone, but still a sense of faith for what God might be doing there. And in responding to that, I guess I felt a rise of faith to stand with Avril in that, and with everyone else who's believing for how God's going to provide in the new building, and however he wants to do that. Two particular scriptures came to mind. One is in Isaiah, where God says himself that he's not a God who would bring a baby to the point of birth and not deliver. And then in the Psalms, David writes that God keeps every promise forever. And so both of those things kind of stirred in me in my response to Avril. And she asked if I'd be willing to help with reviewing other bids going forward. I don't have a whole lot of time, but I have a sense of faith for what I can bring, and so I said off the back of that rise of faith that whatever I can bring, I'll do that.
And God speaks to us, and there's things in your lives that you're thinking, I can't, this is impossible, how is this going to happen? And God has a provision and a plan, and I just want to encourage you in that for me, Matt's stirring from God was my provision from God for this next stage. But what's God going to do in your lives? And as we talk about this faith, there's something he wants to stir, because Christ is our cornerstone and he is our provision for everything. So be asking him, what do we want him to do?